Hi there, my name is Jeremy Adamson, and I'm the author of Minding the Machines, which is a book that was just published by Wiley and discusses how to lead data science teams and really helps people to wrap their heads around the practice. So the goal with this talk is just to share a little bit about why I wrote the book, how it came to be, and really give a high-level overview of what's covered in it. But before all of that, of course, I just wanted to thank June at Shelf Life Books for the invitation to do this talk. I really do appreciate the support, and as a local and first-time author, it really means a lot to me that my favorite local bookstore would help me get the word out about the book. So again, a huge thanks to Shelf Life Books. So I came into the data science and analytics field quite organically. I have a background in civil engineering, focusing on statistics and project management, and I had coded for a large part of my life as a hobby. What's unique, though, I think, about my background and gives me a bit of a different perspective is that I'm very much business and process minded, just happening to have data science in my toolkit. And I've been involved in this field for the better part of a decade. I've worked in marketing, in operations, in strategy, finance, and along with that, I've been fortunate enough to work with several different industries. I've been in the public sector, in energy and resources, financial services. So I've got to see the practice from a lot of different perspectives. And in that time, I've also either created or tuned up several analytics teams. And I found a bit of a niche for myself, I would say, coming into less analytically mature organizations and helping them move from traditional analytics where you have semi-IT professionals that do descriptive reporting, looking to help management better understand the past, to more value-driven analytics where you have passionate people acting as advisors to the business and create real value for the organizations that they work with. And really, that's what inspired this book. Working with all those different organizations, helping them advance the practice, regardless of their industry, regardless of their level of investment, they all tended to run into the same challenges. And I believe strongly in data science, not just as a competitive differentiator, but really as a force for good. So I wanted to write this book to hopefully help folks who are going down this path to avoid those obstacles, and really for individual practitioners who are seeking a long-lasting career in the practice to be able to stand out from their peers and establish a leadership position in the companies that they work for. So at the moment, there's a real gap between expectations and reality with regards to data science as a business function. There was a study by Deloitte that I reference here where about half of executives surveyed said that they believe that data science is going to fundamentally change their organization in the very near future. And that's a very bold statement. And at the same time, almost every analytics initiative ends in failure. And not just the individual projects, but the function itself. In a Gartner survey, 85% of projects fail. Tech Republic's at 80%. Capgemini says only 27% are successful. For anybody listening who's involved in the field, I'm sure that you've seen it as well. I've seen companies on their third attempt to launch a data science function with just a new leader, slight tweaks to their operating model. So people, they know that it works and they know that it's essential to being competitive in the future. But for the most part, organizations, they just can't get it right. They can't execute. And what's the reason? The fundamental mistake is that they over-vector on the technology. So they put in place a team of crazy smart, talented data scientists and just give them the mandate to go out there and to do data science. And the ironic part, because this is a practice based on technology, is that the technology and the data are really the least important parts of the equation. If you want true value creation, you need to start with three things. First, you need a strategy that aligns to corporate strategy and has clear guiding principles. Secondly, you need processes that let the analytics team be successful and consistent, as well as using project management fundamentals. And last and most importantly, I would say, is that you need people who are value-driven and creative and passionate and empowered. And once you have those three in place, then you can start thinking about the technology. Really, it's a footnote to the real conversation. And then just going a little bit deeper on the strategy side, the fact is that most of these analytics teams don't know exactly what it is that they do. They act mainly as technical resources. They wait for instructions to arrive, and in some cases, even their management doesn't know what they do because they've been promoted into that role by proving themselves as strong data scientists, not as strong leaders, not as folks with an understanding of the business and people with the capabilities to execute on projects. So as a starting point, you absolutely need to know what you do, and you need to know your place in the organization and to define how it is that you add value. And really everybody on the team needs to know this, and they need to be constantly reminded of it. And then the second pillar I mentioned is process. And I say this completely without judgment, but the fact is that most data scientists have come from heavily academic backgrounds where the workflow is the traditional scientific approach. You observe phenomena, you formulate a problem statement and a hypothesis, and then design experiments to prove or disprove, and finally report on your results. And that traditional collect, analyze, report approach just doesn't work in a business context. So data scientists, and in particular the leaders of data scientists, really need to be strong project managers, and they need structure around intake and prioritization, around scoping, requirements gathering, project delivery, an understanding of agile versus waterfall and when to use which. And that would cover several books and several presentations in itself. But the point of all this is cognitive fluency. Stakeholders, if you speak their language, they're going to be much more open to working with the data science function. And at the same time, for the individual practitioners, if they have a standard playbook, it means that they don't need to guess about what they're supposed to do next. And they can just focus on the creative work rather than all of these tertiary items. And then that note about creativity brings me really to my last of the three pillars, which was people. So one of the fundamental misunderstandings of the practice is that they tend to see data scientists as coders or developers, and this is completely false. Data scientists are artisans, they're craftspeople, they're not just coders. Data science is at its core a creative practice, and as creative people, they have much different needs to be at their best. When you think of a software developer, they receive a list of items to work on for an upcoming sprint, and then they work within a box. All of their activities are orchestrated externally, and they have a very systematic, linear approach to these items. They fulfill an essential role. This isn't a qualitative statement at all, but their workflow is vastly different from some of the projects that a data science team might undertake, where the goal is something much more ambiguous, like reduce attrition or identify upsell opportunities. And this is one of the errors that people make with data science teams. And then once we accept that it's a creative practice, what else do they need? They need to work within a guild of fellow professionals, and they need to have a credible leader that they respect. Artisans, craftspeople, they need as well to have agency over their work. If you think of any other creative practice, you would never hire a master painter, hand them a photograph and say, go paint this. You hire them because they know painting, and you need to trust them to get the most out of them. So you say broadly what you want, and the results, they can be beautiful. So again, there's a lot to unpack here about the needs of data scientists, how to develop talent, how to create impactful team conventions, but I'll just end by reiterating the importance of people. You can work without a strategy. It's going to be misguided, but you will deliver projects, and you can really even work without technology or process. It's going to be ugly for sure, but again, you will deliver something. But without creative, passionate people who are working as a team on meaningful projects and owning their work, you won't be able to do anything at all. So analytics, data science as a function, it absolutely lives or dies on the strength of its people. So that's a very high-level overview. This is a real passion for me, and I'm really glad to have had the opportunity to share it with everybody. I wanted to share as well my contact information here. I'd love to connect if there's any questions that come to mind, or if you'd like to collaborate in any way. And also, if you have any questions on the process of publishing or writing or publicizing, I'd be happy to help there as well. This was an entirely new process to me, but thanks to the support of a lot of different people, my publisher, my editorial team, different connections, I was able to somehow stumble through it. So I'd love to be able to support other aspiring authors in the same way. And of course, a big thanks again to June and Shelf Life Books for the invitation and the opportunity to share this. I really do appreciate the support. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.